One of the biggest obstacles that I encounter is fear. It's mostly fear in my business, fear that I'm going to fail, or that I already have. It's fear that something's not going to work out the way that I want it to or the way that I meant it to. So I'm a real estate agent, and one of my fears is like when I get a new listing that it won't sell in, the first few days, or that I've priced it incorrectly, that I told the seller the wrong thing, or that, we have a lot of showings and then we don't get any offers. These are huge fears of mine. Like, they keep me up at night whenever I put a new house on the market. There's been weekends this has happened to me where I don't get very many showings on a house, or we don't get any offers on one in the first weekend. I have several that's happening to right now. And that's part of what's going on with the real estate market. Interest rates are going up drastically. People are really scared that house prices are going to drop, and they have been dropping a little bit. So we're seeing ourselves walk into another recession. Housing markets like Phoenix and Austin and Las Vegas are tanking. They have way too much inventory and their prices are too high. This kind of fear around what could happen with the real estate market is something that can keep me from taking steps forward with my business. This kind of fear and uncertainty makes me feel out of control and imperfect. So I'm Marcie Billen. I am a real estate agent. I hate being called a real estate agent for the most part. I see myself as a business owner. I'm an American entrepreneur, and entrepreneurs in America are known for the hustle and the grind, right? I really believe that this hustle and grind mindset is a bunch of crap, and it's made to keep our wheels spinning. It's made to keep us busy and keep our eyes on something that doesn't make us happy. I really believe that building repeatable systems at scale is the way to build a business, and it's the fun way to build a business. I do believe that repeatable systems are important for every part of a business, not just like following up with people or selling a house. I believe it's important for your mindset, for my mindset also. So I'm a huge book reader. I love books. I also have been really careful about who I've been reading, because it just doesn't seem like some people actually want to help me. I don't know. That's just what I feel recently. This is one author, Ryan Holiday. This book, The Obstacle is the Way. This book had so much in it that I've been thinking about and pondering since I finished it. I think I finished this a few months ago. But I keep notes and everything, and in another video we'll go over how I keep notes. But I want to talk about why I keep thinking about this particular book. So his initial challenge in this book, The Obstacle is the Way, is that you want to try to see your obstacle as something good, or something that's in your way as something good. And it sounds to me like it sounds really dumb when I say it like that. Like, oh, just see the bad things that are happening to you as something good. Well, it's really not that simple, right? Like, it's not something that you could just say like, oh, well, that's good. Like, breaking my leg, that's a good thing. You can't really talk about it like that. But a better way that he put it is not just to be positive, even if something bad is happening to you, but to constantly and consistently be creative and opportunistic as these trials and obstacles come up. So as this real estate market shifts and I find my business looking a lot different than it was a few months ago, that's one of my mantras to myself, to constantly be creative and opportunistic as I find issues coming up with different houses that I'm selling, with different buyers that I'm working with, and even the way that I get leads. The reason I like reading this particular author is that he does feel authentic to me. I watch his YouTube videos. I will link the summary for you guys for this book in case you don't want to read it. You can watch his summary that he talks about himself. I have been super careful about authors because I just feel like some of them aren't really interested in helping me. Like, they're writing for writing's sake, or they're writing from a perspective that I don't see eye to eye with. I want to feel like this person, the author, is thinking about me as they're writing the book and not just themselves. So I mentioned that I'm a business owner, and yes, I'm a real estate agent. I do help people buy and sell real estate. I want to always call myself a business owner as I'm talking to someone or introducing myself, because like being a realtor is great. I'm not putting down the profession at all. I mean, maybe I am a little bit, because I really think that realtors should think of themselves as business owners or shareholders if we're talking about Mike McAlevitz and the way that he looks at business owners. But having real estate business is owning a business. And I feel like if I talk about being a realtor and associate myself strictly with being a realtor, then I'm consistently hooking myself to like the erraticism that is, or typically is, real estate agents. I like to think of myself as a calm human who does one thing at a time and doesn't multitask because it's bad for you and it's bad for your productivity or whatever. I want to feel focused and I want people to feel like they have my entire attention. And often that's not how I see realtors operating. And I don't want to be that way. I want to be a business owner who's focused on building my business and serving my clients. Being focused on being a business owner helps me keep my focus on building a business and not just on this possible market crash that we have coming up within real estate or within our American economy or the world economy. So this market is really concerning, right? There's a lot of talk about the market crashing and realtors leaving the business. So if you didn't know, Ryan Holiday, the author of The Obstacle is the Way, he's a Stoic philosopher. Now, when you hear philosopher, you like a lot of people think of like a statue in a museum or like a statue of some guy, and you have no idea anything about them. Ryan Holiday really has opened my eyes to what Stoic philosophy can be and how Stoicism can help me as I move forward in my business and in this real estate market. His explanation of Stoic philosophy helps me understand how I can move forward with this and gives me a little bit of peace, right? Stoicism has 4 main tenets. It is wisdom, justice, courage, and moderation. So this is one of my favorite ideas in Stoic thought, but it's focusing on the present moment and avoiding emotional suffering for the past or the future. So by focusing on the present moment, we won't suffer because we're overwhelmed with thinking about the future and also the past. So this idea of focusing on the present moment and not worrying about the past and the future because of emotional suffering has helped me as I deal with my own severe anxiety in my life. I have severe anxiety, and I'll be honest with you, it's been really tough. This year I got to a point where I was having a panic attack almost every single day. I couldn't work. I didn't want to get out of bed. And with a constant struggle of trying to get out of it, one of the things I looked to and tried to understand is Stoic philosophy so that I could have more manageable bits of my day. So with my anxiety and focusing on the present moment, sometimes people don't understand anxiety fully. So the feelings that I get around anxiety and that, are anxiety, it's not typically about a specific thing. So maybe it starts with a specific thing, like the fear of not having enough clients. But then it transcends into an overall body feeling that ultimately makes me feel like I'm going to die. Like the pain and the panic is so overwhelming that I'm not sure that I can take it. I'm not sure if you've been there or not, but oftentimes there's no thought associated with the feeling. It's just an overwhelming body feeling. So one of my favorite stories that Ryan shared in this book is about Nick Saban. It's not really a story. It's just like how Nick Saban runs his football team, which is the University of Alabama. And I'm not a football fan, so I don't know what Nick Saban looks like. I don't really know anything about him besides that he's an older football coach. That's about it. But the way Nick Saban coaches is he has what's called the process. And I've seen this on several different things. But essentially, he asks his players to think about what they need to do in this particular moment that they're living in. So he says, don't think about winning the SEC championship. Don't think about the national championship. Think about what you needed to do in this drill, on this play, in this moment. That's the process. Let's think about what we can do today, the task at hand. Think about the next 7 seconds. I've seen him talk about that. Think about the next 7 seconds because that's how long a down lasts in a football game. It's so incredibly simple. And I'm not trying to trivialize anxiety because you have to get here to this point, and I'm getting to that too, and how I get there to that point. The thoughts won't always let me get there, to not worrying about the past, not worrying about the future, just worrying about the present moment. Sometimes my thoughts are too overwhelming for that to happen. I've had to get help to get to this moment of realizing that only the present moment actually matters. Part of this is recognizing that my own feelings of awfulness, of death, of panic are something that I can overcome. And I think overcome is a bad word for it. I think it's more like something that I can endure. And if I just feel the panic and the awfulness for a few minutes, a few seconds, a few hours, then it will pass. And it sucks because it still hurts. So once that happens, once the fear dissipates, then I can move forward into my next thought. And my next thought, if it's I need to focus on the task at hand, I need to focus on the next 7 seconds, then that's a new habit, a new thought habit that I can use. And I do have to wait for the panic to pass in order to get to the next thought of what do I need to do next, or what do I need to think next. I look at this kind of habit as a sort of a mind rut. We have thoughts and habits that we fall into very easily, and the way that I visualize those thoughts and habits in my own mind is just ruts or ditches that are easy to walk into or to fall into if you're thinking of your mind or your brain as a sort of landscape that you get to traipse around on. This is what I think about whenever I'm thinking about creating a repeatable mindset system. This is the visualization that I use. This is the way that I create thoughts about myself and create a new system within my mind to carry me to the next task or the next habit that I need to have. This is how I become creative and opportunistic, and it's literally just a habit of creating the thought process in my mind. And it sounds really simple, but it's really tedious, and honestly, it makes me really tired. So often in owning a business, working with people, I run into things that make me upset. I'm a very emotional person. I react to things with a lot of emotion, and this makes me very passionate, and that's great. Love that. Reacting with emotion, reacting in anger with emotion sometimes doesn't serve me very well as I'm running a business. Sometimes I get upset about how another realtor speaks to me, how a client talks to me about a mistake that I've made, possibly, even if I didn't really make a mistake. I'll turn these situations over in my mind. This is part of having anxiety. If you haven't experienced this, then I'm so glad for you. So in this book, The Obstacle is the Way, Ryan outlines this term called apatheia. And I think I'm saying it right. It is a Greek word, so this is how you spell it. But the definition is being a kind of calm equanimity that comes with the presence of irrational or extreme emotions. So choosing not to react or having the absence of those strong emotions that we sometimes label as passionate or anger or upset. So apatheia is this loss of that emotion, of the extremeness. So cultivating the skill of not having those extreme emotions or not reacting in that way means that I can have more time to problem solve, which as a business owner is what I need. So one thought that can be used to ask yourself if you need to react emotionally is, if I react emotionally, will it do me any good? Does getting upset provide me with any more options in this situation? So yes, I react emotionally, I have passion, and that's great in some instances, but will that reaction, will that strong emotion just shoot my calmness to bits? Because I love being calm. I love feeling calm. I love feeling like I'm in control. And so if I react emotionally, oftentimes I feel like I'm out of control. So the system, the mindset system I'm attempting to incorporate with this is asking myself the question, do I really need to freak out about this? The answer is almost always no. Almost always no, I don't need to freak out about whatever I'm thinking about. So here's how I see it in my mind. If I'm imagining my mindset system that I'm trying to put into place. So if there's two streets, I'm standing, you know, at the fork in the road or whatever, and the street that is labeled the freak out, the strong emotion, it's easy, it's downhill, it's really slick. And then the calm, the not reacting, is the other street, and it is uphill and there are potholes and it's going to be really hard for me to get there. So it's going to take me a while to make that choice to get up that street, and that's the harder choice to make. But will it serve me better in the long run? I think so. I do hate trying to use the words mind and brain in this video. I think they're different, and I think the concepts behind them are really interesting, but maybe we'll cover that in another video. Thanks so much for tuning in.